In the heart of a bustling city, amidst the hum of traffic and the buzz of everyday life, lived a man named Edward. He was a man of tradition, a man who held tightly to the values instilled in him by generations past. Edward was known in his community for his stern demeanor and unwavering principles, earning respect but also stirring whispers of his old-fashioned ways. Edward had a son named Daniel, a young man with a heart as bright as the city lights that danced outside their apartment window. Daniel was the pride of Edward's life, his laughter echoing through the rooms like music, his dreams soaring high like the skyscrapers that loomed over their city. One summer evening, Daniel came home with a glow on his face, his eyes alight with a newfound joy. He spoke of a woman named Aisha, her warmth and kindness captivating his heart. As Daniel spoke of Aisha, Edward felt a knot form in his stomach. He knew what was coming, yet he couldn't bring himself to accept it. "Dad, I've found the one," Daniel said, his voice filled with excitement. "Aisha is amazing, and I want to spend the rest of my life with her." Edward's heart sank as he listened, his mind racing with a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. Aisha was black, and Edward couldn't deny the unease that crept into his thoughts at the prospect of his son marrying outside their race. "Daniel," Edward began, his voice tight with apprehension, "I understand that you care for this woman, but you must consider the challenges you'll face. Our family? Our community? They won't understand." Daniel's face fell, his eyes searching his father's for understanding. "Dad, please," he pleaded, "Aisha is an incredible woman. Her race shouldn't matter." But Edward couldn't shake the weight of his prejudices, the fears that had been ingrained in him since childhood. He couldn't bear the thought of his son facing discrimination, of their family becoming the subject of whispers and judgment. "I'm sorry, Daniel," Edward said, his voice heavy with regret. "I cannot support this union. You must end things with Aisha before it's too late." Torn between his love for Aisha and his desire to please his father, Daniel found himself in an impossible situation. He knew that choosing Aisha meant defying his father, risking his family's disapproval. But he also knew that he couldn't live without her. In the days that followed, Daniel wrestled with his emotions, torn between love and duty, heartache and hope. He spent sleepless nights pacing the floors of his apartment, the weight of his father's disapproval heavy on his shoulders. Meanwhile, Aisha waited, her heart aching with uncertainty. She knew the challenges they faced, the prejudices that lurked in the shadows of their love. But she also knew that their love was worth fighting for. One evening, as the city lights glittered outside their window, Daniel made a choice. He couldn't deny his love for Aisha any longer. He couldn't let fear and prejudice dictate the course of his life. With determination in his heart, Daniel sought out his father, his voice steady despite the tremble in his hands. He spoke of his love for Aisha, of the happiness she brought into his life, of the future they dreamed of together. He saw the love in Daniel's eyes, the determination in his voice, and he knew he couldn't stand in the way any longer. As Daniel finished speaking, a heavy silence settled between them. Edward listened, his heart aching with the weight of his own prejudices. Finally, Edward spoke, his voice filled with emotion. "Daniel, I've been foolish," he said, tears glistening in his eyes. "I let my fears cloud my judgment, but I see now that love knows no boundaries. If Aisha makes you happy, then that is all that matters." Daniel's heart soared with relief and gratitude. He embraced his father, feeling the weight of years of uncertainty and fear lift from his shoulders. From that day forward, Daniel and Aisha faced the world together, hand in hand. They encountered challenges and prejudices along the way, but they also found strength in their love, in the knowledge that they had overcome the obstacles that once seemed insurmountable. He had chosen love over prejudice, acceptance over fear, and in doing so, he had found a happiness that he never thought possible. And as they danced beneath the stars, the city bustling around them, Daniel whispered words of love and gratitude to the woman who had captured his heart, knowing that they had both found their happily ever after. Time passed, and Daniel and Aisha's love only grew stronger with each passing day. They faced the challenges together, supporting each other through the trials and triumphs of life in the bustling city. Daniel's relationship with his father, Edward, underwent a transformation as well. Edward, once hesitant and apprehensive about their union, came to see the depth of love and strength that bound Daniel and Aisha together. He watched with a mixture of pride and remorse as they navigated life's ups and downs, their love shining brightly despite the prejudices they encountered. Edward knew that he had missed out on years of being a supportive father, of celebrating his son's happiness without reservation. Determined to make amends, Edward took steps to educate himself, to challenge his own biases and prejudices. He attended workshops, read books, and engaged in discussions about racial equality and acceptance. Through this journey of self-reflection, Edward came to realize the importance of love and understanding, of embracing differences rather than fearing them. He saw the beauty in the love shared by Daniel and Aisha, and he knew that he wanted to be a part of their lives in a meaningful way. One evening, as Daniel and Aisha celebrated their 5th wedding anniversary, Edward approached them with a nervous yet hopeful expression on his face. He had something important to say, something that had been weighing heavily on his heart. "Dad, what is it?" Daniel asked, noticing the seriousness in his father's demeanor. Edward took a deep breath, gathering his thoughts. "Daniel, Aisha," he began, his voice steady but filled with emotion, "I want to apologize. I was wrong to deny you both my support, to let my prejudices cloud my judgment." Tears welled up in Edward's eyes as he continued, "I see now that your love is a beautiful thing, something to be cherished and celebrated. I want to make amends, to be a better father to you, Daniel, and a supportive father-in-law to you, Aisha." Daniel and Aisha exchanged a surprised yet hopeful glance, their hearts swelling with a mixture of emotions. They had longed for this moment, for Edward to fully embrace their love and accept Aisha as a cherished member of their family. Aisha stepped forward, her eyes shimmering with tears of joy. "Edward," she said softly, "your words mean more to us than you can imagine. We forgive you, and we are grateful for your willingness to change." Daniel embraced his father, feeling a weight lift from his heart. "Thank you, Dad," he whispered, his voice filled with emotion. "We love you, and we are so grateful to have you in our lives." From that day forward, Edward became an integral part of Daniel and Aisha's lives. He attended family gatherings, celebrated holidays, and supported them in their endeavors. He was a loving grandfather to their children, passing down wisdom and love to the next generation. Edward and Aisha's journey was not without its challenges, but they faced them together with strength and determination. And as they stood hand in hand, watching the city lights twinkle in the distance, they knew that their love was a beacon of hope, a testament to the power of acceptance and the beauty of love that knows no boundaries.